Potato.
Good afternoon, I'm Jacqueline Felgate. It's 4 o'clock and these are our top stories. A worrying surge in coronavirus cases among our most vulnerable Victorians. Also, testing times for VCA students and teachers returning to the classroom. Richmond star Basher Hawley opens up about his personal COVID nightmare. Masking Melbourne, the rush to cover up as the city embraces new health advice. And hands off our cup, the bid to stop other states stealing the great race.
This is 7's Afternoon News with Jacqueline Felgate.
First at 4, Victoria's second wave is taking an alarming turn with a spike in cases in aged care homes and other vulnerable sectors. A further 177 Victorians have tested positive as our senior school students return to the classroom. We'll go live now to Laurel Irving in the newsroom. And Laurel, some of these outbreaks have authorities worried.
Jackie, it's always concerning when there are outbreaks in aged care homes in particular, because we know the residents are so vulnerable to this disease, and we've learned today that the Menafort Aged Care Home in Essendon now has 26 cases linked to it. Among both staff and residents, authorities are treating it as a top priority. They've even moved some residents out to acute care while they try to get this outbreak under control. In Werribee, the Glendale Aged Care Home now has 13 cases, and we're seeing more cases in abattoirs. 2 Melbourne abattoirs have active and growing clusters, and of course we've seen from the Cedar Meats debacle just how quickly the cases can spread among those workers who work so closely together. 177 cases today is the lowest daily rise we've seen since last week, but we now have 1,600 active cases in Victoria. 72 people are in hospital, 17 of those are in intensive care, so nobody is being complacent about these figures.
I think I've always been calm in these presses, but I have never been complacent. I'm not going to be complacent about today's number. It's great that it's lower than our peak, but it may not be our peak yet.
And of course, all this means it was a pretty uneasy return to school for those senior students in the Melbourne lockdown area. 110,000 years 11 and 12 students went back to school today. The Premier says it's a low risk, but it was important for senior students to get back to school so that they're not disadvantaged when it comes to VCE. But of course, it was many teachers, parents and students were unsure about the day.
I'm reasonably comfortable. We have all the right procedures in place. All students and teachers get temperature checked.
It's nice to see people back, but obviously, there's a little bit of trepidation and a bit of anxiety, but we'll be okay. We'll get through.
Of course, I think we're all worried about is social distancing possible at school, and so I have mixed feelings, but mostly feel good about it.
Now, the other students will get another week of school holidays. They go back to school next week, but it'll be a month of learning from home for them, Jackie.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Laurel Irving, reporting live there. Richmond star Basher Hawley has revealed his mother is in intensive care after contracting COVID-19. In an emotional social media post, he's pleaded with all Victorians to change their mindset about coronavirus.
What burns and what hurts truly is the fact that no one from her family members can go and visit her, which is very, very tough. The reality is it is out there, and I'm experiencing it right now within my family. Please, I urge you for the sake of Allah to go get tested.
Hawley trained this morning but did not travel to the hub with the Tigers, citing family reasons. The race is on to prevent COVID-19 taking hold in more of Melbourne's public housing towers. Cassie Zervos joins us live from Carlton. Cassie, there's a testing blitz underway.
That's right, Jackie. The state government has announced this afternoon an increase in cases found here at these flats in Carlton. 32 cases are now linked to these towers, but as to how the virus got in is still being investigated. There has been an increase in health workers here today. Staff dressed in protective gear have been going from tower to tower, door knocking and testing those residents living inside. An official COVID-19 testing facility has also been set up for those who want to do the right thing. But as for those residents who live here, there is a sense of confusion and uncertainty as to what's going to happen next. Some are even calling on the state government to bite the bullet and to lock these towers down to minimise the spread of this deadly virus, similar to what we saw in North Melbourne and Flemington last week.
Pretty nervous. Yeah, I'm just about to have a baby, so I'm pretty nervous, yeah.
Please, government, take more action and lock down straight away, because this is really dangerous. Thank you.
There has been much more intensive in-reach in some of the towers in Carlton, for example, where testing has really gone door to door to check in with community members to see whether anyone wants to be tested.
The advice right now for those who are living in these towers is, even if you've got the mildest of symptoms, to do the right thing and to get tested, and of course to self-isolate. If you do have to go outside, wear a face mask and of course minimise your contact with the public. Jack?
Yeah, very important advice. Thank you very much. Cassie Zervos there. Despite its border lockdown with Victoria, there are now fears of a second wave in New South Wales. 14 new infections have been recorded in the state. 2 of those were acquired in Victoria. 4 are related to a growing cluster at a Sydney hotel and 1 at a casino. There are now long lines of people getting tested. The rush is on to secure masks in Melbourne, with pharmacies selling out and cloth masks in short supply. Experts say it's a sign people are accepting the advice to cover their faces in public. Estelle Greeping has more.
Well, I'm here at Chemist Warehouse in Elsternwick, one of the many locations that has seen a sharp increase in the demand for masks. But the pharmacist here says people are being a lot more reasonable than last time and assures us there are enough supplies for everyone.
The demand for masks, particularly over the last 3 days, has definitely been there. We're not concerned going forward though. There's a steady supply coming from our warehouse.
In Burwood, the Arc Clothing Co has been manufacturing machine washable cloth masks and have sold tens of thousands so far.
We really haven't had a chance to count how many we've manufactured and sold, but I reckon we'd be somewhere between 35 and 40,000.
They're selling 5 masks for $50, with 1 mask donated to a domestic violence charity for every pack sold.
And that's going to women, children and the staff at safe houses, people who've been fleeing extreme violence at home.
If you do have questions on which type of facial covering works best, one expert says both do the job.
In one sense, any degree of face covering will offer some protection, but you have to use it properly. So the key things are to wash your hands before putting it on, to not touch it repeatedly.
It is important to remember that even if you are wearing a mask while you're out and about, you still have to practice good hygiene and social distancing.
More than 5 million Australians will today receive a second $750 stimulus payment. It's costing the government $4 billion, and as Jennifer Beshwadi explains, there won't be a third handout.
Well, the $750 will appear in bank accounts automatically from about Wednesday right up until the end of the month. It'll support more than 5 million welfare recipients, including those on the aged and disability support pensions, also for carers and those receiving family tax benefits.
To spend on their day-to-day expenses, food and grocery bills, their rent, and some may seek to pay down their debts.
But excluded from the payment this time around, the 1.6 million Australians on Job Seeker and students on youth allowance. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg will deliver a mini budget next Thursday, which will include changes to the JobKeeper and Job Seeker schemes, with more income support to be delivered beyond September.
Our support will be targeted, it will be temporary, it will be designed based on existing systems, and it will also be demand driven.
There are concerns of a second wave of unemployment once government support ends. The official unemployment rate is 7.1%, but take into account various factors like those on JobKeeper not working at the moment, it's effectively 13.3%.
That's a large number of people reflecting the economic challenges that we see right now.
What we want from the government is not a snap back to the old system.
Free childcare also ends today for all Australians except those in Victoria. But the government says with the activity test relaxed, it'll make it easier for people to access the childcare subsidy.
Human trials for a coronavirus vaccine are underway in Australia. The first volunteers were injected this morning after thousands offered to take part. Erin Edwards has more.
The first participant has received the very first vaccine in the building right behind me. What we know about her, she is a woman. She's 48 years old, she's healthy, and she is happy to be a guinea pig for a vaccine which could have global ramifications.
I feel quite confident that the homework's been done beforehand.
The COVID-19 vaccine was designed by scientists at the University of Queensland. It was tested on animals in Victoria and is being manufactured right now in Queensland. The scientists, who have an average age of 30, have worked around the clock since February. They have described the past few months as a roller coaster. They say they are exhausted, but they are very proud.
We're very confident that the safety issue is not a concern here.
Medical trial company Nucleus put out the call for Queenslanders to roll up their sleeves. They had 4,000 people apply. Only 120 were chosen. They're all aged between 18 and 55. They'll be given 2 vaccines 1 month apart with different doses. They'll have plenty of blood tests and will have to keep a diary about any adverse health effects. Researchers will have preliminary data by September. The vaccine could be made available by mid-next year.
It can be manufactured here at the same time as well. That is really important. That has always been the missing piece of Australia. We've always had to get overseas companies to do that production.
But it could also be made available earlier if it is needed in an emergency.
The New South Wales government is mounting a bid to host the Melbourne Cup if the city can't get its coronavirus outbreaks under control. But as Tom Chadwick reports, the response from Victoria has been a firm no.
Melbourne's claim to being the events and sporting capital of the world is all of a sudden under threat, with a bold bid by the New South Wales state government to try and steal some of our events. Melbourne Fashion Week, the Melbourne Comedy Festival, the Melbourne Cup and even the Australian Formula One Grand Prix could potentially head across the border.
Hold the grand final at the SCG or the Grand Prix up at Newcastle, who normally hosts the V8, and of course why not? Why not have the Melbourne Cup here in Sydney?
They just haven't got what it takes to run major events.
This latest pitch from the New South Wales government stemming from the amount of coronavirus cases here in Victoria.
Victoria is the sporting capital. We Victorians will go out and watch 2 flies crawling up a wall.
The Melbourne Cup in particular has never left Flemington. The first running of the famous race was way back in 1861.
The Melbourne Cup wouldn't be the Melbourne Cup if it went to Sydney, it'd be the Sydney Cup.
I haven't got time for those really silly games, and that's what they are.
It's a great publicity stunt, I think.
This latest pitch from the New South Wales government proving that during coronavirus, just about anything is possible.
A gunman on the run after a shooting outside an apartment complex. That's ahead this afternoon. Also, a top doctor's prediction of how long our lockdown will really last. And sailors escape a fiery blast on board an American aircraft carrier. We're back soon across Victoria, South Australia and Tasmania.
You never know who will drop in.
That is not Mick Malloy, it's Andy Lee.
Yes. Big shoes to fill, big pants to fill as well. This hydraulic chair's never been so high.
Or what they'll cook up.
Have to peel up about 4 or 5 carrots. Carrots.
The Front Bar, Wednesday, 9 o'clock on 7.
When you've got a lot on the boil, books pretty much get the chop. But Audible can help you fit them back into your life, even when you're cooking up a storm.
Bread, wine and books.
Audible! With over 400,000 audiobooks. Sorry. It's books that fit with real life. Oh, soz, that's me. You know what it's like. Oh, there's another one and another one. Download now and get your first audiobook free.
9, 10.
A chesty cough can ruin more than just your day. Treat it with Durotus Chesty Fort Liquid. Its double-action formula breaks down mucus and clears chest congestion. Not surprisingly, you can feel better sooner. Get Durotus Chesty Fort Liquid for a great price at Chemist Warehouse.
Fuchsia, limited edition. Buy them online at step1.life. Pink, but not. Oh.
Not till after dinner.
Oh, did he? Right, yeah. All right, just fine.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
It's hard to look after yourself when looking after everyone else. That's why GMHBA members with extras cover can now claim on a range of telehealth consultations like psychology and physio. Stay healthier at home with GMHBA.
At Volvo, looking ahead has always been part of our thinking. It's anticipating what's around the corner, so we can keep you covered for the road ahead. That's why every new Volvo comes with our 5 years unlimited kilometer warranty. Omtanke. We welcome you to try it. Volvo.
Experience a whole new world of sleep and comfort with a Pliga bed and lift chair by adjusting yourself to the perfect position at the touch of a button. Raise your back or raise your legs to create a soothing sanctuary of rest, relief and increased mobility. And now, enjoy 20% off our entire range with display stock up to half price. Live life with Pliga. 1800 648 648. 1800 648 648.
If you've been injured in a road accident, it's important to know where you stand. Talk to Australia's #1 injuries law firm. Morris Blackburn Lawyers will maximise your compensation so you can get on with your life again. Call us now. It costs nothing to know where you stand.
There are fears Melbourne's Stage 3 restrictions could be extended if we continue to see large daily case numbers. Let's speak now to the President of the Australian Medical Association's Victorian branch, Julian Raitt. Julian, thank you for your time this afternoon. How likely is it, in your opinion, that this lockdown will only last for 6 weeks?
Well, I think it depends upon how well we follow the instructions and undertakings that we've been given by the government. I think if we can, manage the social distancing and the other requirements of the lockdown well, I think we'll get out of this sooner. If we find that we've got more spread of the virus, then it may take longer to suppress it.
Do you think we're social distancing enough? Do you think Melburnians have become complacent still?
Well, I think there's a risk of that. I think obviously we get fatigued after the first lockdown and we sort of get a bit tired of the whole show. But look, I think that masks are a very good additional line of defence. We now know from a very large study that was published last month in the Lancet Journal that masks are effective. They're maybe not as effective as social distancing or the lockdown measures more generally, but they certainly do, reduce the rate of transmission by about 70%. So I think that that's a very good additional measure, and I'm very pleased that the government has followed the advocacy that's been advanced by ourselves and many others to have masks widely, recommended for the community when they're out in the public areas.
We are now seeing more cases in regional Victoria. Would it help to have testing stations set up at regional checkpoints and also have people in those areas wearing masks as well?
We think so. At the moment the infection rates are low, but there's about 500,000 people in the area that includes Bendigo, Ballarat and Geelong. And I think if we're to kind of limit the further spread of the virus outside Melbourne, we've not only got to increase the testing in those communities, but also offer it maybe by the roadside for those people who have to commute in and out of Melbourne from those satellite towns.
Are you comfortable with the fact that regional Victoria isn't in lockdown except for the Mitchell Shire?
Well, I think those decisions are based on the epidemiology, so that in fact it's really driven by 3 different parameters that the State Health Officer looks at, and I'm quite confident they're very reliable. But in order to make sure that we don't have to actually adopt lockdowns in those particular areas, I think it's important we get on top of the infections before they spread in those communities.
Julian Raitt, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Pleasure.
A man in his 20s has been shot during an argument outside a block of units in Malvern East. The gunman ran from the scene and is yet to be caught. The injured victim was taken to hospital. Detectives believe the men involved are known to each other. Sailors are among 21 people injured by an explosion on an American aircraft carrier. It's feared the blaze could burn for days, as Ashley Mullaney reports from San Diego.
Good afternoon. Well, the source and cause of this blaze is still under investigation, but we know it has caused significant damage to this military attack vessel. This blaze broke out this morning. There was an explosion a short time later, forcing the evacuation of all the crew on board. Some 17 sailors and 4 civilians were taken to hospital in a stable condition. And we have seen throughout the day firefighters working around the clock from tugboats out on the water to try and bring this blaze beneath the deck under control.
Sailors across this waterfront are absolutely doing a magnificent job to save the USS Bonhomme Richard. This is what we're trained to do.
Now, USS Bonhomme Richard was in the headlines back in 2017 during a naval exercise off the coast of Australia when an aircraft took off from the vessel and crashed into the water. 23 Marines were rescued at the time, 3 went missing. This is an expensive vessel worth more than $1.5 billion US, and we have seen an enormous number of resources today trying to tackle this blaze, but there have been concerns from top naval commanders that this blaze could continue for several days and continue burning until the ship is down to the waterline.
Qantas's Queen of the Skies, the Boeing 747, has made a farewell flight over Sydney Harbour. Fans filled up the aircraft, keen to be taking part in aviation history. The plane took off, then performed a low-level flypast over the city.
I just want to say what a pleasure it's been to fly this aircraft, to represent Qantas and to take the people of Australia with us on all these journeys I've done over the last number of years.
The aircraft will take flights over Canberra and Brisbane before being flown to Californian desert to be retired. Another twist as the Christchurch terrorist awaits justice. That's ahead on 7 News. Also, homeschooling 2.0, how parents and teachers will cope this time around. And the mysterious symbol that's cropped up in a French field. Stay with us right here on 7.
Quality cooking at home. The ultimate guide to smart kitchen appliances, saving you time and money on Sunrise.
Right now, the comfort of our home has never been more important. So it's good to know that at Fantastic Furniture, you can shop our entire range in-store or online. Now with contactless delivery and click and collect services. Find your Fantastic today.
The all-new ISUZU D-Max is coming. Are you ready? Search all-new D-Max.
Hyaluronic acid. There's a reason dermatologists love it.
L'Oréal Paris introduces a powerful new serum, the new Revitalift Filler Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Our highest concentration of hyaluronic acid deeply hydrates, smooths the skin surface and replumps lines from within. In 6 weeks, wrinkles are visibly reduced by 47%.
Now we're talking.
The new Revitalift Filler Hyaluronic Acid Serum from Australia's #1 anti-aging skincare brand, L'Oréal Paris.
Well worth it.
I love shopping online for my pets at Pet Circle. I can easily find thousands of products, all with the best price guarantee. These guys are like family and I want to take care of them. But finding their favourite brands is hard and expensive. Then I discovered petcircle.com.au. With Pet Circle, I save on food, treats and litter, all with contactless, free delivery to my door. There's no reason to shop anywhere else. And it seems a lot of people agree. Shop online at petcircle.com.au.
When your throat is swollen or painful, standard lozenges may not be enough. Call on Strepsils Extra. Its advanced formula goes beyond our standard lozenges and numbs pain fast. Strepsils Extra for an extra sore throat.
And there is only one...
I'm alive. Just kidding. I'm dead inside, emotionally. But that's neither here nor there. There's still only one cure for hungry, thirsty, and that's Oak. With its full strength and full taste, it's full on. Oak doesn't just hit the spot, it slides into the spot's DMs and leaves an inappropriate emoji. Oak kills hungry, thirsty dead, then negotiates the rights to a Netflix doco about the murder. But what do I know about hungry, thirsty? I'm a teddy bear. I only drink Oak because I like the taste. Oh, Oak. Kill hungry, thirsty dead.
Fuchsia, limited edition. Buy them online at step1.life. Pink, but not. Oh.
Right now, it's time to stay safe. Right now, it's time to stay home. But there's one thing you should never stop doing, and that's dreaming of your next adventure. Because even though today we can't hit the beach, we can't head for the hills, or even just push the boat out, it won't be forever.
As classes resume today for VCE students, teachers in remaining year levels are back at school planning a second round of remote learning. Parents are also in planning mode as they work out how they'll cope with homeschooling this time around. School holidays have been extended for a week with online classes for Prep to Year 10 beginning on Monday. And for more, we're joined by education expert Adam Voigt. Thank you for your time, Adam. How do you think parents are feeling about a second stint of remote learning?
Oh, I think there's undoubtedly a little sense amongst parents everywhere of, oh no, here we go again. But I think the one thing we can take a little heart from is that, first of all, that teachers have done this before now. They're good at this now. And I think the other thing that I think parents are waking up to is that it's not just about how much content they get through or how long their kid sits in front of the screen, but reading a book together, discussing what the author was on about in that book, discussing maybe even what was going on in that Netflix series, cooking something together are all still good things to do at home. They all still promote thinking. They all still switch the brain on.
Oh, that sounds like very good advice. Do you think parents need to change our approach this time? And do you think schools are going to look at things a little differently?
Yeah, I think schools will look at it a little differently this time. I think last time there was perhaps, in some schools anyway, a bit of a determination around content and how much we got through, and a bit of a perhaps forgetting what great learning is. And it's about connecting with people and learning through that connection and through relationship. I think that parents these days are also going to say, you know what, if we're having a bad afternoon and we don't get through it, it's not the end of the world. We can find another way to get through it at a different time. And if we don't get through it, that's also not the end of the world.
Oh, it's very good to hear that. Do you think a lot of parents suffer from guilt as well when you are teaching your children in that environment, trying to get through just the workload that was set?
I think so. I think what we do is any time we compare ourselves to other people, I know that if I go to the gym and compare myself with people on the treadmill next to me, it's not good for me. So what we don't want to do is be comparing myself to what another person's child is getting through, what another school is getting through, what another teacher's getting through. All of those comparisons are going to lead us to misery. And so we don't want to do that. We just want to help our kids to stay engaged, keep their brains switched on, to keep them learning, to keep them interested. And if we're doing that, then I reckon we can tick off that we're being a decent parent in these really tricky times.
A lot of teachers have been worried about going back to the classroom. What are you hearing from them?
Yeah, I think we're getting a really wide variety of responses from our teachers. I think some of them are genuinely worried, as they should be. There are examples all around the world. Israel is one of them, where we've found that schools have gone back too quickly, too hastily, and with not enough precautions in place. And it's been the result of second waves in those countries, even schools being labelled as super spreaders. And teachers don't want to be in the middle of that. So there's some that are worried, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot that are really keen to get back into the company of their students, whether it's online or whether it's face-to-face in a few weeks' time too.
It will be an interesting month ahead. Thank you so much for your time, Adam Voigt, this afternoon.
Thank you.
Christchurch gunman Brenton Tarrant has sacked his legal team. The 29-year-old Australian has pleaded guilty to 51 counts of murder following the attacks on 2 mosques in March last year. He'll now represent himself at a sentencing hearing next month. The judge approved the request in a pre-trial video call, despite Tarrant's lawyers denying there'd been a relationship breakdown. A mysterious crop circle is attracting plenty of attention in northern France. Visitors suggest the design is a reference to the Knights Templar or the region's military past and could be a work of supernatural forces. The farmer who owns the field admits the cross is well done, but he's upset about losing 300 square metres of wheat, which was due to be harvested next week. A children's entertainer behind bars accused of being a peeping Tom. That's coming up on 7 News. Police forced to rethink their Western checkpoint amid massive traffic snarls. And we have a winner, the mystery ticket holder who's $80 million richer. We're back in just a couple of minutes.
For
from the time they're teenagers. They open their to be kept from the family folder. We're the last to know.
Mrs. Gray.
Two families. Two worlds. They will collide.
Between Two Worlds, this July on 7.
Colossal mascara from Maybelline, New York. Lashes go 100% colossal instantly. Colossal collagen mega brush. 100% colossal volume, nothing less. No one does mascara like Maybelline, New York.
Your local Bunnings is here to help with Drive and Collect. You can shop online for a huge range of emergency repairs and maintenance essentials and pick them up without getting out of your car. We want to make it easy to get what you need. It's like having Bunnings at your fingertips.
Pre-rinsing wastes up to 40 litres of water. Let's end this. With Finish, if you promise to stop pre-rinsing, we'll donate 40 litres of water to those who need it most. Join the movement. Finish.
Why don't you come? Why don't you come? Pleasure's all mine, don't be getting old. If you're looking for me, I'll be dancing in my own way.
My name is Michelle. I'm a data science lead at Coles.
What if you got the chance to thank the teacher who inspired you?
KL cares about students. He's proud when he sees us succeeding.
And how would they feel?
Hello, KL.
Their potential is a lot higher than what they make it out to be.
The curriculum is designed so that graduates are employment ready.
Lateral is the vehicle to help you be the best that you can be.
Here's Lisa. She got no assistance lifting this heavy bag of cement and sprang a leak. But Lisa has poise. New Poise Thin and Discreet Extra Pads are 45% thinner than Poise Extra Pads with the same protection. It takes poise.
Last minute needs for your pet? No problem. Get it to your door today with Petbarn's same-day delivery. And with a price match promise, there's everything you need and more at Petbarn.
This is 7's Afternoon News with Jacqueline Felgate.
Good afternoon again. Our top stories this Monday. A worrying surge in coronavirus cases in Melbourne's aged care homes. Also, testing times for VCE students and teachers returning to the classroom. Richmond star Basher Hooley opens up about his personal COVID nightmare. And Melbourne rushes to buy face masks as the city embraces new health advice. The announcement of 177 new cases today triggered a sigh of relief from state government officials. That's well down on the dire figures of the weekend, but there are now disturbing spikes in aged care facilities. Nick McCallum has the latest.
Normally this time of day, the Burke Street Mall in the heart of Melbourne is bustling, overrun with people, but not today, and that delights the Premier. It's hard to believe, but after a shocking weekend, today's figure of 177 new cases was considered an improvement.
It's great that it's lower than our peak, but it may not be our peak yet.
These numbers today are better than might otherwise have been the case, but let's not get complacent in any sense.
Victoria now has 1,612 active cases. 72 people are in hospital, 17 in intensive care.
I would like to see a week of decreasing numbers before I come and say that I've got greater comfort about the direction we're going in.
Most alarming is the COVID spike in aged care facilities. Menno Rock in Essendon now has 26 cases, split between residents and staff members, the biggest such cluster we've had.
Some of them have been transferred to hospital for their care. Obviously that's both because they are at risk of very significant consequences, but also because it helps to manage the outbreak in those settings.
There are now also 13 cases at the Glendale Aged Care Facility in Werribee and 2 at the Japara Centre in Windsor.
They are critically vulnerable and we need to manage them as closely as we possibly can.
It's a very, very complex, cunning, clever enemy that we're all fighting. but we can get there if we stay the course.
And the Premier reiterated he will not hesitate to impose even stricter Stage 4 restrictions if medical authorities deem that necessary.
Police are rethinking their Geelong-bound checkpoint after complaints it's delaying legitimate travellers by up to 3 hours. The Army has been brought in to help while the number of Victorians caught doing the wrong thing continues to rise. Blake Johnson has more.
We're at the traffic checkpoint on the Princes Freeway on the way to Geelong, where drivers are being randomly stopped and asked where they're going. The problem is, though, the traffic delays are so bad, police say they'll have to reshape how they run the operation.
How long have you been waiting?
3 hours.
A bit late for work.
Yeah.
Certainly hours is too long, but it's a matter of how we do it in a way that enables us to check as many as we can.
The traffic might be an inconvenience, but it's also working as a deterrent. Police say their job is to discourage travel, especially to Geelong, which is not under the same restrictions as Melbourne. The Defence Force is now helping police with the operation here.
The additional ADF personnel that are here on site allow the Victoria Police to get across other policing matters across the state.
The Defence personnel at this checkpoint are all Victorian.
Ensure that as you're leaving the restricted area, you're only going to your place of work and then returning home.
In the past 24 hours, police say they've handed out 133 fines at checkpoints and spot checks across Melbourne.
Some of them are just a group of mates heading off to catch up with other mates and just took the chance and got a fine. Other people have been going camping. Other people have been out for a drive.
Police say there is a considerable amount of resources being used at these checkpoints, but because there's no sporting events and there's fewer people out and about, they can reprioritise resources to the checkpoints.
A Mornington Peninsula couple has come forward to claim the $80 million Powerball prize. Georgia Comensoli is in Dramana. Georgia, it took them 3 days to discover their life-changing win.
Jackie, that's right. The $80 million Powerball was on Thursday night and they only managed to check their tickets late last night. It was a local couple who bought 2 tickets from this local news agency here in Dramana behind me. When they finally scanned those tickets last night, one said no win, the other came up with confetti. And you can imagine their disbelief when that happened. They even slept with the ticket overnight. The couple have said that in the current climate they are worried about their health, but from now on they won't need to worry about money. As for what they'll do with the cash, they're thinking about buying a new home or even a holiday, but one thing's for sure, they'll have plenty of time to dream big for exactly what they'll do with that cash during lockdown. Jackie?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Georgia Comensoli there. A children's entertainer has faced court in Adelaide accused of secretly filming naked women inside their homes. The 45-year-old father is also charged with possessing child exploitation material. Mark Mooney has the details.
A successful video producer, father of 2, Luke Treglone, knows his way around a camera. Now he's accused of using those skills to commit peeping Tom crimes around Adelaide. The 45-year-old was arrested at his Highgate home on Friday. A search of his property allegedly uncovered a mobile phone with a big collection of videos showing unsuspecting women inside their homes, naked and performing sexual acts. Boasting 20 years in the video production and advertising industries, Treglone's most recent business adventure is an educational phone app promoting South Australia to children.
Our home is an island. Kangaroo Island is our home.
His arrest followed a joint investigation between the South Australian and federal police. It was launched following a tip-off to authorities that someone was uploading child abuse material to an online platform. It'll be alleged Treglone shared the material while posing as a woman online to hide his identity. During a brief court appearance today, he was remanded in custody pending a home detention report. His wife and parents were there to support him.
Are you surprised by these charges? Do you think he's capable of these things?
Treglone will face court again on Monday.
The Sport now with Sean at Souby. And Sean, the Blues are happy on the Gold Coast.
Yes, Jack, for the first time in 7 years, Carlton is in the top 8. And coming up, we'll hear the latest from inside the Blues bubble. And a dejected Swan star, Isaac Heaney, on crutches and headed for surgery.
When you love someone, you never want to say goodbye.
We're moving to Italy. My parents are moving to the other side of the planet. I'm alone.
But it's not the end.
I'm still here.
It's just the beginning.
I know.
my place.
You've always got a home here at the Bay.
You ready to do this?
Yeah, bring it on.
Home and Away. This week at 7 on 7.
In the universe, stars are born every day. Just like in Compton, Western Victoria, where for over 93 years, we've created not just butter, but a star. Western Star. More than butter.
Right now, it's time to stay safe. Right now, it's time to stay home. But there's one thing you should never stop doing, and that's dreaming of your next adventure. Because even though today we can't hit the beach, we can't head for the hills, or even just push the boat out, it won't be forever.
That's a yes or no question.
Yes. Whether you like going faster, using your blaster, or craving some pasta, there's a bit of Disney Plus in all of us.
So what cash flow boost is available for my business?
What are the tax rules around job seeker payments?
We've all got tax questions this year. Thankfully, at H&R Block, we have the answers.
Let's get you started.
Maximise your tax refund. Book an appointment today.
At Harvey Norman, our stores are open, with teams practicing social distancing to keep our community safe. Buy now on 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to the value of $500. Shop for essential tech to keep working, a new appliance, or a bigger sofa or better mattress to make staying home more comfortable. Shop in-store or online, with both click and collect and delivery available. Take advantage of 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card. Harvey Norman stores are open.
Go! These are Step 1 underwear. These are standard cotton underwear. Step 1s have lycra panels between the legs to stop chafing. These don't have that. These are made of organic bamboo, which wicks away your sweat. Buy these online at step1.life. These just don't buy. Get Step 1s.
The suburban fender bender. In the white car, Australia's fastest talker. In the silver car, Australia's fastest typer. Going head to head to make a claim with Amy.
Hello, Amy. I've just been in an accident. Need to make a claim. The damage to the rear of the car. It's a beamer unit, the one with the sweet interior. The weather is fine with the light southerly breeze. Good, great, lovely. So it's nothing major. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Cheers for that nice one. Bye. Done.
Whether you're a talker or a typer, claim your way 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with the new Amy app.
You're with Amy.
Crack the case with Martin Shaw.
I have told you all I can.
But not all you know. Inspector George Gently. Tonight on 7-2.
Hello again. Carlton co-captain Patrick Cripps has played down any concerns of a shoulder injury after the Blues' big win over the Bulldogs. Rory Campbell is on the Gold Coast following the team, and Rory, you spoke to Cripps today.
Now, Sean, he had a bit of a spring in his step, even with a sore shoulder, and fair enough as well. The Blues' 52-point win over the Dogs puts them inside the top 8 for the first time in 7 years. It's the first time Cripps has experienced that in his impressive career. They were able to do it even with their co-captain operating below his best after he hurt his shoulder, laying a tackle in the opening term. He did manage to play out the game, but the club has needed him to go for a scan, but they're confident it is only precautionary. Elsewhere on the Gold Coast, North Melbourne's Luke McDonald has apologised to Essendon's Connor McKenna for covering his mouth as the two players exchanged some words in their game on the weekend. McKenna is the only AFL player to test positive to COVID-19. And North coach Reece Shaw says the sledge is not on and it's not something the Kangaroos stand for. McDonald called McKenna yesterday morning. The AFL at this stage is still weighing up whether or not it'll take any action against McDonald. Sean?
Thanks, Rory. Rory McLaren there. Rory Campbell even. Well, the Swans have been dealt a massive blow with star Isaac Heaney out for the season. 7 News captured the star on crutches this morning, leaving the club. He'll require surgery after scans revealed a dislocation and rupture of the medial ligament in his ankle.
I knew it was significant because he's tough. I had a coffee with him this morning and he was hoping on the bright side, but he was sort of looking at his ankle and it was pretty big and swollen, and I think he was fingers crossed, but knowing there was some significant damage, and there was.
Josh Kennedy ruptured his medial ligament in his knee and will be out for 6 weeks. Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton has cruised to victory in Austria. It was a disastrous day for Ferrari as Sebastian Vettel and Charles Leclerc collided on lap 1, causing race-ending damage for both.
Both Ferraris tried to fight over the same piece of tarmac in turn 3, and their awful weekend just gets even worse.
Australia's Daniel Ricciardo finished 8th after being pushed off the track by Lance Stroll on the final lap. The West Indies are leading a test series on English soil for the first time in more than 2 decades after winning a dramatic series opener by 4 wickets. At 3 for 27 chasing 200, Jermaine Blackwood anchored the chase with a brilliant 95 as the Windies went on to post a famous win.
Victory for the West Indies, a most significant win for Jason Holder and his team.
The second test begins Thursday at Old Trafford. Jack, that's all for Sport. Plenty footy coming up at 6.
Wasn't it great to see the Blues back in form?
Sensational.
They're all getting on the bandwagon, aren't they?
They sure are, and so they should.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sean. A former headmaster at one of Melbourne's most prestigious schools is accused of teaching without formal qualifications. Police claim Neil Lenny's 5-decade career was built on a lie. Louisa Cheatley explains.
Good afternoon. Most teachers spend years studying before setting foot in a classroom, but charges against one high-profile Melbourne educator allege he never did. 72-year-old Neil Lenny has been charged with fraud, accused of never holding a teaching qualification over his 5-decade career. It's alleged he dropped out of university in the 1960s before adopting his father's teaching registration to obtain jobs in schools. He taught at Haileybury College before becoming headmaster at Caulfield Grammar School after lying about having degrees from Melbourne University. According to its website, Mr Lenny now operates the Imperial College of Melbourne, a private tutoring company in Box Hill. Mr Lenny will reappear in court in September. He's facing up to 10 years in jail if convicted of the fraud charges.
A Sam Newman impersonator who was missing for a fortnight has been found. Family and friends raised the alarm after being unable to contact Andrew Starton for 2 weeks. The 42-year-old is well known to football fans for his impressions of Sam Newman and other commentators. Police tweeted last night that he'd been located safe and well. If the message about staying home and social distancing isn't getting through, here's something that might help. After hearing a call out from 3W's Neil Mitchell, musician Michael Burrows created a new jingle.
And if it's safe to stay at home, then just stay at home. We gotta all grow up and do whatever helps us move along. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about all of us together. It's what we need to do.
The Chief Health Officer, Brett Sutton, was among the first to embrace the campaign. Education Minister James Merlino is also on board. Thanks for being with us here on 7 News this Monday. Our top stories are next, plus the very latest weather.
Big Brother's unmissable final 2 weeks.
There's just 6 of you left.
Start on a new night tonight.
Anything can happen.
There's the bromance versus the romance, and then there's the wild cards.
I'm the cockroach that no one can step on and kill.
And get ready.
What is this?
For the greatest twist in Big Brother history.
Welcome to the White Room.
There's only one way out.
All you have to do is press the red button.
The final 2 weeks of Big Brother start tonight, 7:30 on 7.
I live smart. I work smart. I play smart. Schwarzkopf Biotech is the smart hair care solution for beautiful, healthy hair. Biotech Repair combines the latest hair technology with apple phyto stem cells and rosewater for up to 90% stronger hair. Schwarzkopf Biotech Repair for smart hair.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Get AHM hospital cover from only $15.75 a week. It's that easy.
so you can get back to doing whatever it is you like to do. Even that. Find out more and join AHM Direct today. AHM, the simple bit.
I'd like to taste a real Italian coffee, please.
What is the real Italian coffee?
Espresso.
You mean espresso barista?
Yes, new Lavazza Espresso Barista, specially selected and gently drum roasted. From the masters of espresso to you.
When pain and fever symptoms strike, a kiss can make them feel better. But for effective relief through the night, there's Nurofen for children. Starts to reduce fever from 15 minutes, lasts for up to 8 hours, and is trusted by 9 out of 10 Australian parents.
A little bit of chili, a little bit of turmeric. Classic hits to carry you through the night.
Truly is the fact that no one from her family.
We wish the whole run over in their that
Out of Queensland Police. To move on. I've been waiting all day to say that.
Melbourne, we're just seeing a bit of that cloud. It was just below 15. There are areas of cloud moving runs it around in will change who gets the wet weather. Otherwise, there is a large high pressure system over the rest of Victoria. The heaviest falls